New Bern Sporting Goods, 3721 Trent Road in New Bern. They've got all of your athletic equipment needs, no matter what sport you play. Customized screen printing, customized embroidery, plaques and trophies. And the best part, there's no job too big or too small. Stop by the professionals at New Bern Sporting Goods today. Again, 3721 Trent Road, or on the web, it's mbsports.net. New Bern Sporting Goods, of course, where you're always in the game. And, of course, very excited. It's been a while since we've talked to them, but let's go to the phone lines.
We got a phone call.
Magical bacon in the house.
I say it's been a long time. It's been about a week. Jordan Honeycutt, Sun Journal sports writer. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, how you doing? Appreciate you having me on. Doing all right.
Doing great. It has been a week, but it is All-Star Monday. But we actually have to start with you with the Cardinals, man. Did you see this exit coming for the manager over the weekend?
Yeah, a lot of fans have been pretty unhappy with him for a while. I'm not totally surprised by it. I'm surprised they did it at this point. I'm surprised they didn't, finish out the whole year, but a little bit. But no, he's won games, but he hasn't kept up the championship standard. And, it's one of those jobs like, the only team that's won more World Series than the Cardinals is the Yankees. So it's one of those jobs like the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, that if you don't win and win big, you're not going to be around too long. So, not super surprised by it, but I think, he's one of the nicest guys I've ever personally met. Met him when he played he played for the Cardinals down against the Braves one time. Met him down in Atlanta, but I hate it for him as a guy, but it's not the business of being a good guy. It's the business of winning games. So, you got to do that.
Is there part of you that's just upset now that as a Cardinals fan, you no longer have the best looking and the biggest heartthrob in baseball? Because this Mike Schilt guy, whoever he is, he's not a looker like Matheny was.
I don't care about that one bit, Sam.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're talking about standard wise, but I mean, they were still in the hunt this year, right? I mean, they were only, hovering around 500. It was not paint the eye. I mean, he's a guy who's got a great winning percentage historically. It's not as if he were underachieving at a grand scale, like it were 20 wins at this point of the season. I mean, again, they're still, a good run away from putting themselves into this playoff.
Yeah, I mean, they're 7.5 games back from the Cubs and 5 games back from the Brewers. So, I mean, they're still there. That division's jumbled up a little bit. They're only a game and a half ahead of the Pirates, but I think it's just what it is. Hadn't been to the playoffs the past 2 years and doesn't, kind of in danger of not going again. But like you said, anything could happen. We've seen way bigger turnarounds than that. But I think it's just a little bit of impatience and a little bit of, about it just not working out. And I think that obviously the brass and Mozeliak, the GM, and DeWitt, the president, they made that call, and kind of hard to argue with it when, like you said, when saying 500 isn't good enough, and that's okay. You want to be a part of a fan base and a team franchise that 500 isn't good enough. But if he was managing the Rays or the Marlins, or we think he would be fired for that record, probably not. But that comes back into the when you have expectations and tradition, then the job's harder.
But speaking of those guys in white shirts and ties that you were mentioning, general managers and the folks that work in the front office, I mean, what do you rank the talent that the manager has to work with? Because I mean, ultimately, you can manage all you want, but if you don't have the right guys playing the right position and the right talent in the right places, I mean, obviously, it's like in every sport. Where do you rank where St. Louis is, and how much do we blame the front office for not maybe having the right pieces in place?
Oh no, I think talent-wise, the Cardinals are there with pretty much everybody else in the National League when they're healthy. Now, the injuries have been a big problem this first half of the season. Molina's missed some time. Paul DeJong, who's a real good young player, has missed some time. We have a bunch of names that are good players that haven't become household names yet. But, Marcell Ozuna's been really struggling. He's an all-star. Dexter Fowler's been an all-star. Colton Wong's been a veteran for a while. Matt Carpenter's a really good player. So, I think – and the pitching staff is still really good. Like right now they have 5 players on the DL, and 3 of them are starting pitchers. So, that's not it's not conducive to a good time there as a team or a manager. But now there's been a whole lot of bright spots, and I think the talent's there. I think we could use a couple players here and there, but I think it's more of 2 things Matheny wasn't good at, and that is managing the pitching staff. I thought he should be good at managing the pitching staff, being a former catcher, but he pulled guys too early and went with the wrong guys out of the bullpen. Fans really blast him for that. And then just he didn't use the speed enough. The Cardinals have a lot of speed, and he's not aggressive enough on the base paths, and fans blast him a lot for that too. So I think those 2 things together are my 2 biggest gripes about him. But like I said, I wish him the best as a guy. I think he should get another job somewhere else with maybe lesser expectations. But we'll see. And I'm definitely anxious to see where the Cardinals look to go from here.
All right. Well, we really did not mean to turn this into St. Louis Cardinals baseball radio. We've already been Milwaukee Bucks talk today. I'm
always good talking Cardinals.
Well, that's what I figured. I knew once we
market specific.
Yeah, I knew once we started this, it would just completely go off the rails. And I feel like a lot of people listening don't give a damn, and I'm one of the people included. But before we move off of it, Jordan, I want to ask you: at the trade deadline approaching, buyers or sellers are the Cardinals, or do they just stand still because they made a lot of moves in the offseason? You're talking about getting guys like Fowler. They got Ozuna from Miami. They went and they pledged the money to Greg Holland as the closer. So now that they made the moves, will the Cardinals try to do anything and improve the roster for this year, or do you just see them kind of remaining stagnant at the trade deadline?
I hope they kind of stand pat a little bit. We got a lot of assets down in the farm, AAA and AA. We've got some really good prospects down there. But I'm never a fan of trading away prospects, especially for a rental. I would love to have Manny Machado. I'd love to have him, but I'd rather try to sign him than I'm not a big fan of a rental. Is Manny Machado going to win us the World Series? Probably not. He might get us to the playoffs, but I don't know. Anything could happen, but I would like to see him kind of stand pat and just keep developing the prospects and keep developing the players we have now.
Well, as we are here at the All-Star break, what's your biggest surprise at this point of the season? We were talking earlier, is it the Nationals trailing behind those Braves and Phillies in the National League East? Is it the fact that Houston, the Yankees and the Red Sox look so much better than the rest of the American League? What's your biggest take or surprise, I should say, in the big first half, the All-Star break as we hit the Midsummer Classic?
Probably the Brewers, man. Honestly, I'm an NL Central guy because my team's there, and the Brewers I knew they had the offense to compete, but man, their pitching has been really good, and I did not expect that. They've got some young guys they brought up that have held their own, and I didn't expect that this early. I knew they were a team on the rise, especially when they got Lorenzo Cain and Christian Yelich to kind of help the offense, and they've made some great off-season moves. But I expected them to be better, but I didn't expect them to be 2.5 games behind the Cubs right now in the division, and ahead of the Cardinals and Pirates. I didn't expect that really. And then obviously the Braves. I think the Braves are ahead of pace, ahead of schedule too, because Ozzie Albies has proven himself to be one of the best young players in the game, and I think Ronald Acuna hasn't fully hit his stride yet, but I believe in him. I think he's going to, and when he does, I think they're just going to take off. And yeah, the Nationals are definitely a surprise on the bad part of the spectrum there. They should be so much better than 48-48 right now. And I've seen them in person, and they looked really good against the Marlins. But a lot of people look really good. A lot of people look really good against the Marlins. So I just don't know what to think of them, man. I hope they turn it around because I'm a Bryce Harper fan. He's probably my favorite player that's a non-Cardinal. So Pujols now, but after him it's Harper. So I hope they turn it around. But they've got the pitching to do it. they've got the hitting to do it. Got a couple guys hurt. Got to get Strasburg back and hopefully get Ryan Zimmerman turned around. But, the Braves are going to be tough to beat. And then obviously the Phillies are a huge surprise, just like the Braves, also ahead of schedule. So it's definitely interesting.
So home run derby tonight, 8 o'clock ESPN television. I believe we're going to have it right here on the
right
radio.
Right here, 8 o'clock on the radio. And it's better than watching it on TV.
It probably is since Chris Berman's not there anymore. But, Jordan, let's just start with the home run derby.
He's going to be on the radio. No, he's not.
I wish. That would be great. Are you a fan of the home run derby? And why is it that the talk I've been hearing all day long today is that this home run derby is lacking a star? When I look across, and obviously Bryce Harper's the headliner, but guys like Freddie Freeman, guys like Javi Baez, guys like Kyle Schwarber. I mean, doesn't Jesus Aguilar, isn't he like leading the league in home runs this year? Why are people poo-pooing this home run derby?
I think you got two guys in there like Max Muncy and Jesus Aguilar that, people don't know unless they're baseball guys. But I look at the other four guys outside of Harper and Freeman. Everybody knows Harper and Freeman, but Schwarber, Baez, Bregman, and Hoskins. I mean, Bregman, Hoskins, and Baez, especially. I think Schwarber's kind of a natural DH. I think he needs to be, needs an American League kind of guy. But Hoskins, Bregman, and Baez are three of the best young players in the game. So, I mean, people don't invest enough time, I don't think, in learning the young guys. They don't go watch them in the minor leagues. They don't keep up with top prospects of their teams like they should. And I think that's why they don't know these guys. And, Baez a little more known than Bregman and Hoskins, but, Bregman's already a world champion, and Hoskins burst onto the scene last year. So I think it's Bryce's to lose, but obviously we've seen bigger upsets before, like when Bobby Abreu went crazy and dominated the home run derby. So anything can happen in it. I do like it. I actually like it better without Chris Berman. I'm glad I don't have to hear his obnoxious voice anymore. But, yeah, I've always been a fan of it. It's fun to watch, and obviously I'm pulling for Bryce, but yeah, it's not as star loaded as it has been. I think people obviously want to see Trout and Judge and those guys in there every year, but it's like the dunk contest, man. We don't get what we want; we get what we have. So that's what we've got.
It's like life; we don't get what we want.
Yeah, exactly. True.
What about this makes it so that one or two or three or four of these guys are going to carry a slump in the first month after this? What about the home run derby destroys a batter so much? Do you know? Because
I don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
No, I don't buy it. I think it's a joke.
Is it just an all-star slump?
I think so. I think just some people just come out, just take the all-star break, get too relaxed a little bit, take those 3-4 days off and just, do what they should do and have fun and all that. But I think they just kind of, when you have a break in the middle of the season like that, kind of like the NBA does, I think some guys just get too relaxed and too laid back, I guess. And it takes them a while to get back into the groove of it's kind of like they need a second spring training to get into the groove of the season. You shouldn't, but it just does that to some people. So can't explain it, having obviously never played pro ball, but and no season I ever played in had a mid-season. I was never good enough to play in a season with a mid-season break. So, I can't explain it, but I think that's what it is. They just get a little burned out and then need to kind of reintegrate themselves into the flow of the season. But I don't buy the home run derby being a bad thing. No, I don't. It's one night.
So
I don't think it has a carryover.
So you obviously have to make a pick for tonight. So who is Jordan Honeycutt's favorite? I think Bryce Harper is the betting favorite out in Vegas to win it all tonight. And I really wish we were waiting to see that Freddie Freeman and Bryce Harper matchup that we're going to get in the opening round a little later in this thing. But are you going with Harper or is it someone else? And which one of these, I'm going to call them no-name guys, the Aguilars, maybe Reese Hoskins, Alex Bregman, which one of those guys do you think that people are going to walk away from tonight finally knowing that guy's name?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bryce to win in his hometown. I'm hoping that it's a good, story for him, and it would be, and I'm hoping that comes to be because I'm a fan of his. So I'm going to go with him. I think Javi Baez is the guy. He's got great power for a middle infielder. And having a love, I don't love the Cubs, but having a love for middle infielders, having been one, we don't usually get known for our power. So I think to see a guy who's got great power at that position, is
Jordan,
really
were
cool,
you ever
even though-
known for your power? At any point in your life, have you been known for your power?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I've always been a little guy, but I had a great on base percentage and fielding percentage. So I
There
could
you
live
go.
with it.
Were you the guy who kept your own stats? Did you keep track of your own on base percentage?
No, my dad was a coach. I didn't have to.
There
Nice.
you go. Well, it's going to be Hoskins versus Freeman. That's going to be the
Wow,
final.
you went double homer. You went with the 8 and 7 seed to make it to the final. That's nice.
Absolutely. And
Neither one of those guys would surprise me completely. They're both great, power hitters. So I wouldn't be the only one that would really surprise me would be like a Muncy or an Aguilar, just because Aguilar's they're great hitters, but just because they're not as well known, I guess.
I know we need to take a break, but before we let you go, Jordan, I wanted to get your thoughts on Terrell Owens and his decision not to go to the Hall of Fame, and the Hall of Fame's decision to not really include him in the outward ceremonies.
I think it's just really childish on both parts. I mean, man, it's the Hall of Fame. It's the greatest thing you're ever going to do in your life. So why would you not want to be there? And then on the Hall of Fame's part, like, I don't care if you don't like the guy or not. On the field, he earned the right to get in. So why are you being childish? So I just think looks bad on both of them, honestly.
Absolutely. For folks listening, you can pick-
Wait, I got one more.
Well,
One more,
okay, go ahead, go
Jordan. Jordan, yeah, home run derbies tonight. That's all well and good. The main event is afterwards. We're gonna have the celebrity all-star softball game, and I'm myself
that's
looking
right.
more forward to that. DJ Diesel, aka Shaquille O'Neal, going to be emceeing the event tonight. You can catch it on your TVs directly following
Tim
the home run
Kirchin
derby.
is the man I'm rooting for MVP. Go Tim.
But I guess the guy I need to
Best
get
laugh in radio.
I want to get a scouting report on you, Jordan, because I don't know if you saw it. I know you're a resident WWE guy. The Miz is participating tonight. I did not know he was a WWE wrestler till Errol Epstein informed us last week. But what kind of scouting report for the softball game can you give us on The Miz tonight?
True story.
Oh God! I mean, he's like, if they were going to put somebody from WWE, they could have definitely put someone better than that. But I wouldn't expect too much. I mean, I don't watch that game, so I don't watch the. I don't want to call it a sideshow because it does have some famous guys in it, but it doesn't. I don't like watching things that don't mean anything. So
Like the home run derby and the All-Star game tomorrow night?
no, at least home run derby, you get a big, nice trophy, and you're known for the home run derby champ for a year. An All-Star game still means something, it's fun, it's fun, and you get to have bragging rights over the other league. So, but this softball thing, none of these guys are ever going to probably see each other again, so it's not worth even watching.
Come on, man. Bill Nye and John Wall hang out all the time together.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
I think the height of celebrity softball was the Rock and Jock, man, with Roger McDowell and that USC linebacker Dan Cortez.
Man,
I know I'm dating
so
myself.
old. God, what does this happen every time you and Daryl get into the studio? It just gets old.
Those Rock and Jock games were pretty cool. So
I love the Rock and Jock. Well, I know we need. I was going to say for folks listening, pick up a copy of the Sun Journal. Go to newbernsj.com/sports, or you can follow Jordan on Twitter at @jhoneycutt_NBSJ. Always great to talk to you, man, and looking forward to talking to you soon.
sure thing, man. Talk to y'all next week, hopefully.